Ghana expects 1.15 billion inflow from IMF and World Bank by late February. Ghana is expecting to secure a 1.15 billion funding from the International Monetary Fund and the World Bank by the end of February as bilateral creditors near agreement on the terms of a debt restructuring. They can no longer pay their debt. They have mounting debt and they have no way to pay it. So what the lender needs to do is to restructure the debt. It's like you have a debt and you are unable to pay, then you go to the bank and meet the manager of the bank and say to them, well, I know I'm supposed to pay this to you, but right now I do not have it. So can we come up with a plan? So let's see. Instead for me paying you 10,000 per month for 5 years, why don't I pay you 5,000 per month for 20 years? Something like that. But either way, the bank makes so much money, but it's not going to take them a longer period of time to get the money from the borrowers. Ghana expects to receive 1.1 billion in funding by the end of February. The agreement will pave the way for the approval of a 600 million disbursement, the second part of its 3 billion bailout. The approval by the board will also set in motion the release of 2 World Bank disbursements amounting 550 million. Remember, there's one thing I have to point out, right? African leaders always complain about unfair treatment from these financial institutions like the IMF and the World Bank, right? They always complain that they pay so much for the same amount of money as compared to their Western counterparts. And no matter how much they complain, they still go in for the loans, right? It's like you are complaining that someone is not being fair to you. Someone has been so unfair to you. And while making that complaint, while putting that argument, while making your case, you are still collecting whatever that person is giving you. And it is the same thing you've been complaining. I don't understand how this is supposed to work out. But let's see what the article is saying. The finance minister expresses confidence in reaching an agreement with official creditors on the terms of a debt restructuring, with a meeting scheduled for January 8th. Once an agreement is reached, the IMF Executive Board can assess Ghana's performance under the program initiated in May, paving the way for the approval of a 600 million disbursement, the second part of its 3 billion bailout. Despite some delays, Finance Minister expects the board to convene January 18. The approval by the board will also set in motion the release of 2 World Bank disbursements amounting to 550 million. So Ghana is out there collecting. And remember, it's a loan. Okay, it's a bailout. You have to pay it back. You have to pay. It's just like you borrow money from someone to do something, and then you cannot pay due to one reason or another. And you're like, can I get more debt, so that I can use it to pay the last one, not even pay, but just pay the interest for the last one. And then we can see how to proceed and what to do next. It's so funny. But let's continue.